Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Alright guys, episode 212 review. This episode right here was absolutely amazing. Everything that I thought it could have possibly been and even more. Just a little less of information though, but still it was definitely a very good episode. There wasn't necessarily a lot of need for good animation in this episode, and the Boruto staff made 100% use of that. The aura in the air was crazy. You could literally even taste the tension in this episode, and it was really all surrounded with Amado's character at the beginning of the episode. I mean, Amado's character was portrayed damn near perfectly in this episode. When I talk about Amado being a difficult character, like this guy was super difficult, barely answering questions straight, not necessarily getting straight to the point, and making sure everybody understands that if they say the wrong thing, Shikadai's head could be potentially blown off. So Amado was literally like just chilling, and you could basically see it in this episode. Kawaki even said Amado even coming to the Hidden Leaf Village means that Amado is prepared to die. So Amado wasn't necessarily in any rush at all. I mean, he already came to the conclusion that, hey, I'm probably going to die, so he was taking his sweet old time with it. He even asked for coffee. I know the manga reader's probably gonna have some problem because in the Boruto manga he asked for a cigarette, but that's besides the point. Amado's episode was A+, a 10 out of 10. His character was definitely portrayed the best. Shikamaru, on the other hand, this guy's reaction was also gold. I mean, you have to understand where Shikamaru is coming from. First things first, Shikamaru is not a joke. He hasn't been a joke for a very long time. This man is serious. So now his child is being held captive by Amado, a person from the Kado organization, and Naruto and everybody else has to listen to this guy. You could just tell every single second that Shikamaru was in the frame, he wanted to kill Amado so bad, but he really couldn't. And there was even a scene where Amado tried to bait Shikamaru, and Shikamaru literally took the bait. When I was seeing this for the first time in the Boruto manga, I actually thought that Shikamaru was probably going to hurt Amado or something like that, but it didn't actually happen. But regardless, I want to kind of go chronological real quick. The episode first started off with Amado and Kashin Koji in the Kado organization hideout, and Delta pulled up unexpectedly. If you guys do recall, in the last episode, Amado told Kashin Koji that no one from the Kado organization insiders would have possibly been inside the actual hideout, but that wasn't the case. Now, when Delta pulled up, Kashin Koji, first things first, he looked like he was extremely confident that he'd be able to defeat Delta. That right there, in my personal opinion, when I seen this in the Boruto manga, made me understand that Kashin Koji is definitely like that. Unlike Delta, Kashin Koji seems very calculated, so he'd understand, except if he can't necessarily beat somebody. Him actually saying like, yo, I'm just gonna handle Delta really quickly, makes me believe that Kashin Koji is extremely strong, but that's besides the point. The biggest part of the scene had to be when Amado just shut Delta off 2.5, and at the end of that scene, Kashin Koji said he wonders if he has some sort of off button like that as well. This right here pretty much tells me that Kashin Koji is not a regular human being. Obviously, we understood that. There's a very good chance that everybody in the Kado organization was modified to some degree, but this right here pretty much confirms it. This right here actually seals it, in fact. But getting off of that scene, in the next scene, Amado enters the Hidden Leaf Village. He sees Isshiki actually training. First things first, Moegi leaves. This right here wasn't actually in the Boruto manga, so we didn't necessarily know exactly where Moegi was. So she leaves for some refreshments. So that right there makes sense, because obviously if Moegi was there, it would have went down completely different. But Amado pulls up. Shikadai is the only person that has the nerves to speak. The rest of the two, Inoja and Chocho, they shaking like Shaq at the free throw line. And it was also very clear that Amado was extremely knowledgeable about damn near everybody that was in the Hidden Leaf Village. He was calling people by their first and last name. One of the things that we could possibly look towards has to be, of course, Kashin Koji stealing a bunch of intel from the Hidden Leaf Village and actually giving it to Amado. Now, at this particular point, we don't necessarily know exactly if that's what really gave Amado the knowledge, mainly because we understand people in the Kado organization, they have a lot of knowledge about the Hidden Leaf Village. We've seen Kashin Koji call Mitsuki by his first name. He himself also knew that Mitsuki's father was Orochimaru. He also knew who Sado was, and on the other corner of that, Jigen was extremely knowledgeable about everything that Sasuke and Naruto were able to do. So I wouldn't necessarily put it past him to actually already had prior knowledge, but of course, the intel that Kashin Koji did actually take could possibly have played a role in Amado basically mapping out almost everything that happened in this episode right here, like how he already had the bomb on the tree branch behind him while everything was going on. After that full scene was over, Amado actually talks about his defection to the Hidden Leaf Village. Now, first things first, I'm pretty sure we all understand the intel that Amado will be able to give the Hidden Leaf Village is something completely different. Even Kawaki in this particular episode right here was saying it wouldn't be a complete stretch to say that Amado knows everything about the Kado organization if he's actually truly going to defect to the Hidden Leaf Village, and that right there is going to be absolutely great knowledge for the Hidden Leaf Village. But as of right now, I do have to say the Kado organization, they're in absolute shambles. I mean, Delta's gone, Kashin Koji's gone, Amado's gone, the scientist, the master scientist behind all the other cyborgs in the Kado organization. All they really have as of right now, oh, Bora's gone, Deepa's gone, Victor's gone. By the way, And all they have right now is Jigen and Code. I mean, I understand that Jigen is a very big powerhouse in itself, but let's keep it a G. At this particular point, the Kata organization, they're looking weaker than Jonah Konohamaru. But by the way, Kashin Koji being Jiraiya, the theories of that possibly being true, it absolutely took off when we first seen this in the Boruto manga, and I'm pretty sure the anime onlys, they're pretty much running with that theory as well right now. Kashin Koji becoming good, like not actually being evil, that right there is just icing on the cake. I mean, everybody understood that Kashin Koji had a lot of Jiraiya's features, a lot of Jiraiya's jutsus. The big thing that was turning a lot of people off about accepting the fact that Kashin Koji might actually be Jiraiya is the fact that Kashin Koji was evil and he was actually trying to conspire against the Hidden Leaf Village, something that Jiraiya would obviously never do. But now we understand that from the start, his idea was to actually kill Jigen. For the character of Kashin Koji, that's amazing. And speaking of the character of Kashin Koji possibly being Jiraiya, I mean, I'm pretty sure we all understand Kashin Koji fights a lot like Jiraiya, and obviously now Naruto is going to possibly see Kashin Koji fight a lot like Jiraiya. That right there, well, manga readers understand how Naruto reacts to how Kashin Koji fought, but anime watchers just understand that that right there is going to be a very interesting thing. Now, speaking of Hidden Leaf characters actually seeing the feed, Kawaki actually pointed out who Jigen was to Boruto. This right here was the first time that Boruto actually seen Jigen. I mean, this is the guy that pretty much gave Kawaki all the bad memories. This is the guy that gave Kawaki the karma seal. This is why Kawaki's waking up at night in cold sweats with nightmares, a bunch of stuff like that. So of course, Boruto seeing Jigen for the first time, this right here, in my personal opinion, was definitely a big moment. But while the feed was actually up, a couple of interesting things actually did happen. First things first, Jigen told everybody, or Jigen told Kashin Koji specifically, that he knew the whole time that Kashin Koji and Amado actually conspired against him and crashed the blimp. One of the things that I did talk about in the prior video that they didn't necessarily cover right here is the fact that Jigen at any given moment could have possibly popped up right in front of Kawaki and taken back the vessel. But the reason why he actually did, convene a task force of Kashin Koji and everybody else to actually go get the vessel is because he wanted to actually see exactly, who betrayed him and actually intentionally crashed the blimp. No one's gonna really go back this far and really put much stock into this, but if you guys don't necessarily recall, I mean, Victor died damn near because the blimp crashed, and now Jigen knows that it wasn't really Victor's doing, so the blimp wasn't the problem. Now obviously Victor had a bunch of other shady things on the side, but I'm just saying that right there was definitely foul. And speaking of the old time characters, this right here is one of the reasons why he probably shouldn't have killed Deepa. Now his Kata organization is dwindled down extremely tiny. He would have been protecting Jigen. He'd probably lose to Kashin Koji, but he still definitely be a very good help to the Kata organization. But regardless, there's a couple of things that was actually cut out of this episode which I definitely didn't mind at all. They cut out the explanation about the Otsutsuki clan, and this right here, in my opinion, it kind of sets the tone for all of the other chapters going forward. There's probably gonna be episodes that doesn't necessarily adapt full-blown chapters like how the Boruto anime was doing for the first, 39 chapters or so. I'm completely fine with that as long as the story flows. For example, in this particular episode, Amado didn't bring up any information about the Otsutsuki clan, period. If Amado would have started talking about the Otsutsuki clan and then cut it right in the middle of his explanation about the Otsutsuki clan, that would have been a problem, mainly because it would have been different for the audience to actually follow going from episode to episode without the full explanation. So him not even broaching the subject and the episode still flowing damn near perfectly, I 100% have to give it up to the Boruto producers on this one. This right here was definitely well done. But I do want you guys thinking about this episode in the comment section below. I personally loved it. As I said, the aura was insane. The tension, you could actually taste it. It was literally tangible. But it's me, your boy Baara B, and we out.
It's a knife.